The prophet Joseph Smith, when he was dedicating the Kirtland Temple in 1836, in his prayer, which he stated later was a revelation from the Lord, he made this statement: "And Father, cause that the remnants of Jacob, who have been cursed and smitten because of their transgression, be converted from their wild and savage condition to the fullness of the everlasting gospel." The prophet Joseph Smith gave us this thought, that the Lord brought us out here to bring the gospel to the Lamanites. One of the most important things that can possibly happen in this whole dispensation of the fullness of the times is to bring the gospel to the Lamanites. Brigham Young seemed to catch the vision of it. He said that the Lord could not have devised a better plan than to have put us where we were in order to accomplish that very thing of educating and teaching the Lamanites. We came 1,000 miles across the desert, our ancestors did, under terrific persecution and hardships. But we came out where the Gentiles had scattered the Lamanites. They had pretty well reservationed them here in the western states. They were in our every county, in our every township nearly. And the Lord brought us out here that we might teach them the gospel. Now I should like to give you a few quotations from some of the brethren. Joseph Smith said that this work was extremely essential. And he sent Oliver Cowdery and Peter Whitmer and Parley P. Pratt and Ziba Peterson out as early as October 1830. It wasn't very long after the plates had come out of the hill. And I myself, he quotes the Lord Jesus Christ as saying, "I myself will go with them," these Lamanite missionaries, "and be in their midst, and nothing shall prevail against them." And then he said again, "And there in the Rocky Mountains, they will open the door for the establishing of the gospel among the Lamanites who will receive the gospel, and their endowments, and the blessings of God." And then Brother John Taylor said, "The work among the Lamanites must not be postponed if we desire to retain the approval of God." Oliver Cowdery, even in his early day, had found the Navajos in the far southwest, and he reported it to the brethren and seemed to feel it was a very important thing. Brother Wilford Woodruff said this further as he went down into the southwest, down in old New Mexico, and visited among the Indians there. He said, "In my short communication of the 2nd, I promised to give a fuller account of my visit to the Isletas, which I will now endeavor to do. The Isletas are one of the Pueblo groups down in New Mexico. I view my visit among the Nephites one of the most interesting missions of my life, although short. I say Nephites because if there are any Nephites on this continent, we have found them among the Zunas, Lagunas, and Isletas, for they are a different race of people altogether from the Lamanites. I class the Navajos, Moquis, and Apaches with the Lamanites, although they are in advance of many Indian tribes of America. I class the Lagunas, Zunis, and Isletas among the Nephites." And then he goes on and says, "As soon as we dismissed from this particular meeting among the Lagunas, I believe it was, they dismissed the meeting and were going to leave, and he said, one of the Nephites arose, full of the Spirit of the Lord, and said, 'Friends, why do you dismiss us and leave us like this? This is the first time we have heard of our forefathers and the gospel and the things we've looked for from the traditions of our fathers. If our wives and children are weary, let them go home. We want to hear more. We want you to talk all night. Do not leave us so.'" Brother Brigham Young said, "It's our duty to feed and teach these Indians." Let me quote a few lines from him. He advised them to educate them and teach the gospel so that many generations would not pass ere they should become white and delightsome people. This is the land that they and their fathers have walked over, called their own, and they have just as good right to call it theirs today as any children have to call any land their own. They have buried their fathers and mothers and children here. This is their home, and we have taken possession of it and occupy the land where they used to hunt. But now their game is gone, and they're left to starve. The Lord has given us ability to cultivate the ground and reap bountiful harvests. We have an abundance of food for ourselves and for the stranger. We're living on the possessions of these Lamanites." I should like to quote again from President John Taylor. He said, "The work among the Lamanites must not be postponed. Thus far, we have been content simply to baptize them and let them run wild again. But this must continue no longer. The same devoted effort, the same care in instructing, the same organization and priesthood must be introduced and maintained among the house of Lehi as amongst those of Israel gathered from Gentile nations. As yet, God has been doing all, and we comparatively nothing. He has led many of them to us, and they've been baptized. Now we must go and instruct them further and organize them into churches with proper presidencies, attach them to our stakes, organizations, etc. In one word, treat them exactly in these respects as we would and do treat our white brethren.